guys. Hello, good morning. Thank you so much. It's been a while. What is it? 2-3 weeks without the Whensday Warm-Up. I do apologize. I can't even remember the reasons why anymore. It started off with me being...
So blame it on load shedding.
Blame it on load shedding. You know, everything... Yes, blame it on load shedding, protests, corruption. I'm just going to go for that. Even when I was sick, I blame it on the government.
But
technically
the water, I'm just saying it could have.
The thing is, I don't know if it was the water. I don't know. But anyway, while we're at it, seeing that we already now heard your voice because you are so voorbarig.
Hello.
Let us introduce you to my stand-in co-host here this morning, Anka. You know, she is no stranger to the Whensday Warm-Up. She's no stranger to the Inside Show. And before we continue, Anka, I must just say that in our last episode, when we were talking about no colours and Indians allowed, right?
Yeah.
There was that one went viral. So for everybody who watched that episode, thank you so much for watching. If you did share it, if you did like it, really got people riled up, and for good reason. I mean, we are in a place in our history in South Africa where we're gonna look back and we're gonna say, yeah. But one of the comments that I just need to mention quickly, this one person said, you guys bantered too much in the beginning, so maybe we should not do this bantering thing, okay? I want to take heed to the criticism that I do get in the comment section, which is also very important. Everybody can't now just like and be happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
So no bantering, Anka. Let's get straight into it. But maybe you should introduce yourself, because I mean, that's not bantering. It's just fair.
But bantering gets the conversation going. And also I think it aids to the authenticity of the show, because our personalities come out. But each to their own. I'm not going to tell you what to do on your show. Hi, I'm Anka Hendricks, and I'm no stranger to the show, and I'm happy to be here.
So just to get back into that, I agree with you. And I wanted to comment on there and say, have you watched the Inside Show? It's not, so many people, I think they have the wrong perception of what a podcast should be, because there's this fixed mentality that a podcast is structured,
Or like a reporting show or
it's
something.
A reporting show, it's another news show. And the thing is, podcasts take on different forms. Some people, I mean, especially with a podcast that has a lot of people, it's not just one person. There's going to be bantering, because that's how conversation gets going.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch Andrew Tate's podcast, if you watch Logan Paulding's podcast, all of that is they've got some good conversation going, but they've got some good bantering going as well.
Yeah.
And it's not a structured thing. The whole thing about a podcast, especially our podcasts, if you've watched the Inside Show, yes, there are a few that are structured, but those are restricted to those days. The rest has to do with a lot of what, our opinions. Obviously, we try to make as informed opinions as possible. As opposed to just speaking. Anyway, I was going to say something not kosher.
No, this is a family channel and it's a Wednesday morning. It's midweek. Let's not fight.
Let's not fight.
Okay.
And really, I did not wake up this morning and choose violence. I chose peace, but the roads chose violence this morning.
Bro, it was so bad. I'm sorry for the person that's going to be watching this that said we mustn't banter, but I'm going to banter because the roads. I mean, it will form part of the conversation, because that's what happens, right?
What? You'll learn to love us. I promise.
And I mean, if you don't, you'll learn to hate us.
And watch nonetheless.
Oh, my dad's in watching this morning.
Hello, Uncle Lloyd.
He's there. He's saying good morning, guys. I'm not too sure if it's my mom or my dad, because they watch together on his phone. So, good morning to the parentals out there. Thank you so much for watching. But the roads were terrible this morning. I'm not going to give the location, because just not the people that learn to hate us, start stalking me. But there's this road that I use every morning, and the traffic was the pits, because there's no robots, traffic lights for those
robots.
Of you.
You are in South Africa.
For those of you in other parts of the world, the traffic lights for South Africans, the robots were not working, and they never work. And I don't know, must we blame load shedding? Let's blame load shedding. Because since load shedding, none of the robots, and it's a long strip of road.
I blame Cyril. The reason why I blame Cyril is a representative of the whole organization, of the whole government. So yeah, it's just not
He
working.
must take the blame. No, honestly, he must take the blame at this point.
I mean, if disgruntled people come into Pick and Pay or Checkers, they just feel it.
Yeah, no.
The cashier just feels it. I just feel that, as an entire organization, you are being paid by the organization. Do something right somewhere at least.
And I mean, we're speaking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I know that we hash a lot on the bad and the ugly because unfortunately, that is our reality in South Africa.
It is, and guys, I'm really hard pressed to find some good. I'm really trying. I am, and I'm sure there is. I mean,
cake for the bad.
Oh, look at the
cake
bad.
For the bad.
Shame he made it at least. We'll give him the good also.
Jess, I'm sorry, the headphones just go missing here in studio, bro. I don't know.
This is what happens when you come late.
But you can listen to us. You in studio. This time, Zaiki's not sitting there in the paddock. So, but yeah, we're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Just to fill you in real quickly. Somebody said in our last episode that we banter too much. So
We what?
Banter too much.
Banter.
We don't get to the point.
So watch something else then.
Yo. Okay.
Woke up this
Somebody
morning.
chose violence. Shoo. Okay, the ugly. But yeah, no, Jess. So let's get straight into the conversation. We're talking about Youth Month. For those of you who are not familiar, but for those of you, I'm just going to reiterate. June is Youth Month in South Africa. I know that we celebrate some other things also this month, but specifically for 47 years now, 46 years now, we have been celebrating Youth Month since the Soweto Uprising that happened on 16 June 1976, where a bunch of students protested against the ills of the apartheid government, in fact, the evil of the apartheid government, and many lost their lives. And since then, in South Africa, we have commemorated 16th of June as the Day of Youth. And so we sort of gave the whole month to the youth. And I think, kudos to that. I'm all for that because I'm still youth. I'm holding on to the last years of youth.
You are youth with some couple of years of experience.
Exactly. Yeah. It will always be that way. I'm going to always celebrate Youth Month. I'm going to come to... Oh, and speaking of Youth Month, we've got a youth conference coming up. It's happening at Crystal Church. I'm going to plug Rhythm Youth.
And it's super exciting that the vibe and energy is really good.
Can you guys stop bantering? Please get to the point.
We are. That is the point. This is the good of Youth Month, okay? This is the good of Youth Month.
We are trying to steer away from violence here.
We are trying to keep it kosher, okay? So yes, Youth Month. We've got the youth conference coming up. Rhythm Youth is having their conference 16 and 17 June. That's Friday and Saturday at the Crystal Church Auditorium, which is on the 7th of
public holidays Friday, not now, Leandra.
Which is of the 7th of Walton. 7th of Walton.
7 Walton Road, Ayrton, in Johannesburg.
Hi. If you're in the office, can someone please make us coffee, me and Lee? I think we need some coffee.
No, we do. If you out there, somewhere far away, is Jaya.
I messaged him, but the message aren't going through.
Oh wow!
My phone's just waking up.
Okay, your phone needs coffee. Stop bantering. Can we get to the point? Okay, yes, 16th and 17th of June, youth conference. But anyway, guys, Youth Month. What does it mean to you first and foremost? Anka, you met your husband at the youth conference.
It means love, the actual love.
Never mind February.
Never mind February.
Valentine's
month. This is the time I came from Namibia, and I just came for a youth conference.
Yes.
I was gonna come and be in a conference from the Thursday till the Sunday.
You came for Jesus.
I came for Jesus.
# I'm married to Christ.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Love that.
I love that. I'm all for that.
Yes.
And then, I just didn't leave. My father was very apprehensive about me coming, and because obvious reasons, I didn't leave. And here I am, so that's what Youth Month means to me. I mean, we don't have Youth Month in Namibia, so I take that personally. So.
And how many years ago was that?
That was 10 years ago, actually.
Sheesh.
So yesterday 10 years ago, I landed. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's like yesterday I was a little bit nostalgic about the whole thing. I'm like, how did we get here? 2 kids later, a whole husband.
Bro.
Maybe 3 kids later.
Yeah, no way.
Sorry, my guy.
Let's not upset Anka, please.
Please, let's keep the I know you chose violence, but please, for the sake of the show and bantering, let's just not
I think she
violence.
contributed enough to the population, to the world population, especially if you look at economic times.
She needs a boy.
You're right, actually.
You've got the boys for us, most. Don't
but
stress.
it's
You can
my
share.
children, it's not
But
our
they
children.
Hendrix. They Hendrix. We can share.
So, Jess, what does Youth Month mean to you? Is that all that Youth Month means to you, Anka?
Meeting your husband.
Well, over time, I think it has progressed with the whole conference and all of that. And you see the importance of youth and you see the importance of investing into the younger generation, because the reality of the matter is they become tomorrow's leaders. I just think we're in dire straits.
But we'll get into that.
Please explain.
No, we'll get into that.
Yeah, no. So for anyone out there that's single, you see, Anka met her husband at the youth conference. So this is a great opportunity for you.
I'm an advocate for that, Jess. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Don't leave me hanging.
I'll be the connection point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's not stop entering, please. Okay, so
it's difficult, eh? We actually banter quite a lot.
We do, but I feel like that's what also makes
the podcast. That's what Anka said.
Because if you end up just talking serious.
Yeah, they said we must have a structure. Somebody else said this show is very unstructured.
In light of today's conversation that we are speaking about youth, what is the target market of this show, this specific Whensday Warm-Up? Is there a target market in terms of, I know that Gabfest is mostly just ladies.
Yes.
I know that the Tuesday one is politically inclined.
No, we just for the people.
We for everyone.
Is it?
Irrespective of gender, irrespective
But I think
we're an inclusive show.
Yes. We've had Oomphies on the show.
Then the balance.
Yeah.
No.
The thing is, we don't support ageism.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
So clearly you of ageism.
I'm done here. Anyway.
Hashtag cancel Anka.
Do you want to continue? Are you sure you want?
So, in light of the fact that we cover all ages, there must be bantering for our Gen Zs.
Yes.
There must be, and there's serious topic here as well, which is for our baby boomers out there.
Yeah.
I think we do touch every area. So just stick around and wait for your part to be.
But, sorry,
But at the end of the day, a podcast is people sitting
Thank you.
and just talking.
Chatting.
I don't know if they've watched podcasts before, but
I guess they listen to the podcast like on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff
Where
like
it's
that.
cut.
And exactly,
And
and it's not
edited.
live and stuff like that.
Yes.
So just a shout out, just a disclaimer: this is a live show, so we do banter a lot. But I'm gonna have to banter now because I just want to say something on that point. it's on the topic of youth. It's on the topic of youth.
I just feel like we just take it as it no one.
It's on the topic of youth. Yesterday I was listening to the John Pullman show, and Ndata John is on 702. For those of you who don't know, it's one of our local radio stations. He says, "Be yourself. You want to banter. Thank you, GD Quinn." Thank you, GD
Why,
Quinn.
thank
Appreciate it. So on the topic of youth, right? They were talking about movies and like what is your memories of movies, because apparently the movie houses are struggling because people are saying, yeah, like the what you call this, the lekkers, the luxuries,
Yes.
it's the snacks,
the Malaksians.
The lekker.
The snacks are really expensive, right? Apparently, like, you are paying for a cup of Coke the price of a 2 liter.
No, for real. We were there on Sunday and it was just like on a whim.
Yeah.
Half the seats are out. The rest are duct taped.
Yes.
I'm shook.
It's
to my core.
shocking. And so they were saying, what will it take for people to go back to the theaters, right? To the movie theaters.
Close Pirate Bay.
And then people were... yes, we see.
Well, that's
you,
an option.
We see you. So then, this one guy, they were asking, what are your your pet peeves, the things that you dislike about the movies, right? Mm-hmm. And so this one guy was saying, one of the presenters was, or the anchors on the John Pullman show was actually saying that there was this one guy, an elderly man. He said probably in his 50s. Now, tread carefully, we're talking about ageism. And John Pullman is, I think, over 50. And so he's like, hey, watch what you say next. But he's like, there was this really old man, and you can see that he was fresh, like he's back in the game of dating.
Yeah, man.
En die man soon net on one. Hy wil net kissy, smoochy. And this guy was like, it was so disturbing for him because he's got glasses on now. So I'm going to reenact it. So he's like, so now he's watching for a little bit. but then he takes his glasses off.
Then he goes,
He's like, so this is what he was watching the whole time. This man in his routine. And what do
So he wasn't watching the actual...
He wasn't watching the movies, but it's on the topic of youth and how different we are. Do young people still, like the next generation? I know that our generation used to do that. I know that guilty as charged.
I don't know. Like,
Anka look like she was of those straight punkster aunties.
It wasn't my scene. Like, it just
Anka looks like she was that kind of person. Go on a date to the movies. Okay, sit a seat, but
like, no, it was
Anka's of COVID back then already.
No, it's just when you
Social
go to the...
distancing,
Why are we at the
Play
movies? We're coming to watch the movie. And besides that, it's just tacky. There's so many people around us. No. But for me, the worst thing about going to the movies, like we were there on Sunday and these people rocked up late, but they were young guys, ne? And all you hear is because of the popcorn, right? It's the worst food for the movies. And
that's my thing. Like, how did we... that's another question. Maybe you guys know
I think it's better than go-slows.
No.
Picture go-slows in a movie.
And the thing is, another thing is go-slow stinks.
And speaking of popcorn and stuff being expensive, right? So these people, they just sat down and you just hear and the whole time. The next minute you just hear the box
slush.
The box full and the popcorn slide, and like it's just like because imagine the movie just started.
Haters, did you just get popcorn? You must say it's expensive. Or you hating on those people?
We got our popcorn. First of all, I don't eat popcorn, so Xavier did get his popcorn. But
now the popcorn those kernels get stuck in your teeth. Now you don't.
You see, it's just the worst food. It must just be banned from the countries entirely. Like, it should be a banned food because popcorn is
because
wrong.
you don't.
No.
One guy was saying that the movies at Gold Reef City allows you to take your own food in.
You know what? Gold Reef City will be there. Next time you'll just see.
He says that he saw this. They saw these guys. He said him and his friend, or there were these guys that brought in a whole pizza box.
Yeah, maybe this is South Africa. It's the land of Chocho. Whoever they paid, it's not a thing.
But maybe they do. We'll see. Maybe we should go to the movie house at Gold Reef City.
Yeah, but then your VIP section won't.
No, they won't.
But
survive.
at this point, in order for people to go back to the movies, they must make movies cheaper, first of all. I mean, we were in Namibia and I was very upset that we didn't go watch the movie I wanted to watch in Namibia. Because it's 60 Rand and it's 35 Rand on Tuesdays. Why are we paying 100 Rand?
You know what's a good idea, actually, now that I think about it? Sorry, we're bantering again. But there's a big screen here at our church, at Crystal Church, right? How big is that screen?
I don't know. I just know it's very big. It's a whole wall.
Huh? It's duck. That's the size. The size is duck.
25 steps.
So maybe
and
we should start.
There's proper
sound. So maybe...
Movie house,
daar wordt ons gejudged on the house of the Lord into
make
a
den of thieves. Marketplace here by the temple.
Say, Pirate Bay. Watch me watch a camp version.
Okay,
that escalated. Bleep that out. Jess, what does Youth Month mean to you?
That one out.
What does Youth Month mean to me?
Yes.
That's a very interesting question that you have there, Leanne.
Because you didn't meet your wife at the youth conference. So, what does it mean? What month did you meet your wife?
I don't know.
I don't know. I just met her.
Yeah. We met long ago, remember?
Yeah.
We used to chat on Facebook. Then we I kind of messed up that time.
Oh.
Yeah. And then we went separate ways. And then we met back at the crossroad.
If it's love, it will come back to you most.
Yeah, it's boomerang. You must throw it. So if you're out there and you got a girlfriend or boyfriend, break up today. Let's see.
I'm just
Let's see they come back.
Advice.
That's what Youth Month means to me. I'm joking, man. Yeah, so for me, basically just the youth having a voice again. Yeah, we know what happened back June 16.
Yeah.
With the whole strike, the uproar and everything. So for me, it's basically just the youth having a say that we are important, we are able to change situations. Because you know how it is now and then, the elderly people look at us like, hey, my yellow's dumb, you're like, nuts. Well, nowadays we're proving them right, but...
I mean, we must address the good and the bad.
With the woke agenda, we do prove them right now and then.
No.
But yeah, that's basically what it means for me. Us having a voice that we can make a difference when we wanna make a difference. We're able to actually come together and rise up.
Yeah.
Amandla.
Away too. So just we've got a comment there in the comment section.
We have JB saying, morning guys, I just found your channel. I saw the video where you covered the new Employment Equity Act. You echoed many of my own views. Thank you so much, JB.
Thank you, JB. Appreciate it.
And that went, like I think you did mention it now, it went into fulfillment.
It did. It did.
So it's out there.
Actually, it's being exercised already. Which I think it was last week when I heard on the radio with the agricultural sector, because I know that there was big uproar. I mean, uprising again. We're in June now. We're uprising again against new laws that are similar to apartheid laws in the sense that it restricts certain races from entering a space. And yeah, JB is asking the question, guys, what hope is there for colored youth these days?
Yeah.
And it's an important question to raise. In fact, so we were talking about the Employment Equity Act, the amendment to it. And so in the agricultural sector, I think it was 25 to 75% needs to be black owned, well, farms.
For me, how do you roll this out even?
So
do you just go and take farms from the white man and say, okay, let's put the black person in?
So that's the thing that they need to still give clarity on, because this is my issue with things like this, right? I don't mind, because I'm all for transformation, and I do believe that you need to fix the wrongs of the past. You need to right the wrongs of the past, and there's ways in which to do it. But my problem is when our forces that be, our government, implements things like this. There's no clarity on issues like this, and that's where the corruption comes in. This morning I was listening that they want to roll out the NHI, which is the National Health Initiative, right? And that also, so people are complaining about that. They like, I mean, if you look at the public, okay, the argument is that the public sector, the public health is under severe pressure, right? And so how is it? So they need to find ways to alleviate the burden on the public health system. But now our question is, now you're talking about the NHI, and you were talking about how everybody has free access, or at least affordable access to good health care, and you are now combining public and private, and because you want to alleviate the burden on the public sector, so you want to bring in the help of the private sector, which obviously we know that you need medical aids to pay for that, right? And we do understand, because I was also of the opinion of one of the guys this morning that called in on the radio, and he was like, you know what, it's so, these medical schemes is really a scheme, because before you know it, your savings is used up, and you're like, now you need the medical aid for emergencies, and they're like, no, sorry, we don't cover you anymore, or your savings is used up, and exactly, now it must come out of pocket. So I do understand that as well. But now this is my thing with the implementation of these laws and of these initiatives and of these acts and bills. It's like, okay, but now give clarity, because another guy said, this is just another opportunity for our government. We know that they're going to loot the funds. When you hear government with anything, you already think,
the reality of the matter is that the people is not a priority. The reality of the matter is whatever they do for the public, it's not for their best interest. It's to see where they can put their hands into now and to take out of. I mean, there's this whole thing with having Cyril impeached and all of that. And they fired the guy, what's his name? Yes. Because, he's not a team player now. The whole thing with Tina Juma, she's now, passed and on and whatnot. They don't want to be
associated.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So the matter of the fact here is that it's not for us as a public, and it's much less for the colored people and colored youth.
Yes.
It's for just them there at the top that can eat. And the rest of the people, I know of people who work in the public health sector that work 24-hour shift and wasn't paid for months on end. Yep. And remember, their bills still need to be paid. Yep. Their houses, they need to use their own petrol to get to work. And they worked right through COVID, but they weren't paid. How is it that the people who work the hardest and to the bone must walk away with the shorter end of the stick. They have no care in the world or consideration for the people at the bottom of the food chain.
I mean, I was talking about and answering JB's question, or at least addressing JB's question, because I don't have an answer, to be honest with you. I'm at this point, and it's sad because, I like to have an answer for things, but I do not have an answer. But I can address that issue once again. Like when my mother actually sent me something in the week, and I spoke to Jess about it, that there was a strike in Westbury because of this unemployment in the community. And I am grateful that our people are standing up, and when answering the question, what does Youth Month mean to me? That is what Youth Month means to me. I like to see things like that. I like to see peaceful protests, because they didn't go, as far as I understand, I get very upset when people, my own people and other people and people in communities start burning their own things. And it's like, that's not where the issue lies. Why are we burning our schools? Why are we burning our universities? Why are we burning our clinics and our hospitals? Because those are the places that we need. Those are the places that we end up going back to. But what I like is peaceful protests, so that the government can see that we are not going to just take this lying down. Yeah. We are going to stand up. We are going to protest. We know what our rights are. And to be educated, that's my best advice for the youth, the future youth of this country. If you are not happy about something, like with the Fees Must Fall movement, don't go and burn your institutions. You are fighting for free education at those institutions, understandably so. But also, let's do it with some logic. Let's think about this nicely.
So who's going to replace it? Where does the money come from to replace it?
Exactly.
But I'm trying to understand, these are educated students that are burning down the place that they need to be further educated. But they want to get it for free.
Now the other day there was, and you see, this is the ugly of youth, of the youth of the current day, and we'll speak about the ugly of the youth in the past as well. But of the current day is things like this. 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, a university in East London, I'm not too sure, was it Forte? But a university in East London, the students were protesting their exam schedule. They weren't happy with the exam schedule, ne? So the day of the exams, when the exams now, because apparently according to representatives from the university, they were saying that they negotiated the exam timetable with the youth. And these students went to go and, on the day of the exam, they went to go and loot and destroy university property in protest because they weren't happy with their exam schedule. And I'm like, the privilege of being able to go to university, whether it be on a bursary, or most of it is on bursaries, whether it be on a bursary or whether it be on a funding, all those things, right? It's a privilege. If you look at the percentage of youth that can go to university and those that can't, it is staggering, the difference. And the fact that you would do that at your institution because you aren't happy, for me, the entitlement of this new generation is what just sends me. It sends me, and I'm being like the old people now, but honestly, the entitlement of this new generation sends me. It's like, I don't want to work these working hours. I want to be able to do what I can do. I want to be able to go where I want to go. I want to be able to get a good education, but I still want to have my freedom to do what I want to do. Yeah, and you must work around my schedule and my lifestyle.
I don't think it's so much around your schedule. It's about so much around how you feel in that particular time. Because right now, if I don't feel that this is a positive environment for me right now, let me burn it down. Because that's basically what's happened. Because I don't feel like I'm in the right space to write right now. But you knew prior. You knew there needs to be structure. To make a functional adult, to make a functional person who'll be in the workforce one day and then, play nice with the other adults. But our youth now, speaking about the ales, yes, and that has a lot to do with our woke culture. It's got to do with how I feel and where I am right now, and am I in a good space to do this? And it's created and everyone's been yielding to it. Everybody's been trying to make it look nice, instead of teaching structure, instead of teaching discipline, which there must be a balance of. In anything there must be balance, so that you have functional adults. That's why we have burning of libraries and stuff.
What do you think are some of the good things about... Okay, we're speaking about Gen Z. We'll get to Gen Alpha, but which is the generation after Gen Z. But what do you think are some of the good traits that Gen Z has? The generation after us, we are millennials. But yeah.
We are?
Yeah.
We're old.
Jessie is actually late millennial, early Gen Z.
Yeah. For me personally, I think that there are some good traits about the Gen Z generation because they're tech savvy and brilliant entrepreneurs.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if you have to look at, young kids have become millionaires because they're entrepreneurs with the whole trading. And remember, trading is not just something that is a fly-by-night, a quick get-rich-quick scheme. You need mental stability for that. You need to do research.
Definitely.
You need to be disciplined and all of that. So in that sense, I do think those are good traits of the Gen Z. They are into new things.
Mm-hmm.
They're just a little erratic about it.
Yeah. So let me give you, before we go into that, let me give you the birth years of each generation. So Gen Alpha is considered 2013 to 2025. The Gen Zs are 1995 to 2012. So Jess, you literally just made it. Mm-hmm. So that's why I say you are late millennial. Then millennial generation, or the Y generation, or generation next. We have a lot of names. Yo. Hi man, dankie ons. 1980 to 1994, and then the Exennials, yeah, is 1975 to 1985. Then Gen X, which is baby bust.
But are they the baby boomers?
No. Gen X, which is baby bust, is 1965 to 1979. Then baby boomers is 1946 to 1964. Then the silent generation is 1925 to 1945. Then the greatest generation is 1910 to 1924. Then the interbellum generation is 1901 to 1913. The last generation, which is the generation of 1914, is what they say here, is 1890 to 1915. The generation of 1914 is the last generation. So those are the generations. But Jess, what is, we're talking about Gen Z and Alpha. Let's clump them together for that. What do you think are some of the good traits? Anka mentioned technology. They tech savvy and they're great entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I agree with Anka 100%. They are tech savvy. They're always up to date with the new trends, technology, all that type of things. Very good with that. I think the bad side to it is they're not willing to learn. Like, you can't teach. You can't teach them.
Can't. They're not teachable.
They're not teachable. Yeah, they always want to know. They know better than what you know. So it's
like, but I googled that, and that's actually not how it is.
Literally, it's like Doc will always make the thing to say you have to, when you're preaching a sermon, you always have to make sure that you factual and correct, because there's a youngster sitting out there. When you say something, he's googling it to see is this person talking the truth or what. So that's literally how it is now. Look, it's googling and everything is not bad, but at least be able to learn from others.
Yeah,
because you don't know everything. Yeah, experience speaks much more than anything else, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the scary part about that is that not everything on the internet is true. Not everything is checked and factual.
Well, we know that, seeing now that you can change your gender.
Yeah. Well, that's a different route. But in general, I mean, and a lot of the times, people, I mean, those of you who know me, knows that I proclaim vehemently that I have studied at the University of Google and I am therefore a doctor from the University of
Definitely.
Google. Right? But at the same time, you know that not all of it is correct. Not all of it is, so that's why you go to an actual doctor. And the generation now will tell you straight, no, it's not like this person said that, but this person is on the internet. You don't even know who this person is. Where, and a lot of the times, like, my kids will ask me things on, like, they watch. And I'm like, no, what rubbish is this? Put it off.
Yes.
Put it off,
Yes.
But yeah.
So a lot of Gen Z, their arguments is that millennials, or the previous generation, is to blame for the ills that they have to face And that's the reason why they've become this hard generation.
Typical. Let's blame other people.
So
that's
I'm
the other
segueing.
thing. They never blame themselves. It's everyone.
So that's me segueing into millennials, our generation. What do you think are some of the goods and some of the bads? Now, don't be biased, Yella. Come no.
No, I think our generation is the generation that's like in between. We've got some of the old and some of the new. So you get a lot of our generation.
I mean, we millennials, Gen Y, Gen Next.
We like, and I mean, rightfully so, because really we're in the times when we still had cassettes and, landlines and stuff like that. I was seeing TikToks the other day. What is this thing? With the dial? Kids were asking, what is this? Or
and I love that day. Obviously, like the dial phones were now in, right? The button phones. But I wanted so badly for us to have that.
And kids were asking, like, what is, even a cassette. Like, my child got into dad's car, Blue Boy, right? And they're like, what is this?
Oh my gosh.
Like the radio thing. So,
that's scary.
We in between. We know the pencil and trying to turn the cassette and, playing it and rewinding it so you can write down the lyrics. Yes, we come from that. It was still
that was the good old days. Before we had Google to search for lyrics and stuff. The CDs that came with the lyrics in the cover. Sitting there and singing in your room.
I'm a bit later, so I was there with the Ultimate Mixette 6 DJ Kent.
Can you know see?
I was sitting with a recorder there by the radio.
So we come from that. And then the other thing is something that is good, like having done a bit of research with our generation, is that we work well on our own. We
independent.
We are independent workers, but we also we not workaholics, but we open to a little bit new things. Whereas if you go further back from us, people were workaholics, but they weren't.
They were rigid.
They didn't welcome change. They were less inclined for change, and it's still like that. If we have to look at organizations that still have leadership that is in their 60s, or because their generation believed in structure, and this is how it's supposed to be, and can't change. It's not gonna. It worked like that in 1900 in Futsek, so it's going to work like that now. So our generation is still flexible in that sense.
Yeah. But that change is good. Like it definitely, change is good, but change can also be negative. And I think that's why the next generation suffers from the liberties that we have introduced as as the millennial generation, because we are so liberated, because we are the next generation, because we entered the millennia. This was the generation that entered the new millennium. And I think that because of that nostalgia and that excitement, we became so liberated. Yeah, we know that the baby boomers, and they had their hippies and their nude beaches and nude festivals and stuff like that. But then our generation, I feel, took it to the next level. And I think that's some of the negatives of our generation, where we became so liberal, because now we are the parents teaching our children that you can be anything you want to be.
Yeah.
And it's no longer just about career choices. It's now about image. It's now about self. And it's like, no, you can be whatever you want to be. If you choose that you want to be a cat, I'm going to affirm you as a cat. And I think that is the downfall.
I'm still old school.
That's the downfall of our generation, where we were so oppressed from previous generations, and our parents living through apartheid, and us coming just into the new dawn. We are the born frees. But I like this one guy. I found an artist. Kirsty sent him to me. He's a musician, and he sent and his name is Benjamin on Instagram, but I can't remember his full name. And he says, not born free, born colored, to answer this question. And it's such a strong statement. He's like, the colored identity itself is such a contesting in identity in South Africa, where you think that you are born free, but living in a born free time, no, you are still colored. There's still restrictions on you, those kinds of things. And I think that to try to break out of that mold, we have adopted ideologies, and we've adopted behaviors, and we've adopted things that are harmful to the next generation, because we tried so hard to break out from the mold of the past.
And I to a certain extent, I do agree with you. For me, I think it's difficult coming from Namibia and being here. We don't have this even now. Like even in the workplace, we don't have people asking you, are you black, white, or colored on a enrollment form or something, or like you have to put it on your CV or something, or even if you just want a bank account. Like those are things that we don't understand.
Yes.
The youth of Namibia don't understand that. Yes, we have our own social ills or whatever. I can't say ours. I'm here now.
Yeah. But
so
growing up in Namibia, and that was your youth.
Yes,
your youth years were spent there.
I didn't understand. Like getting a job wasn't as difficult simply because I'm colored.
Yeah.
And here, that reality is really a thing here. And I was shocked. I mean, there's laws in place. People, even for me, I've struggled to get work, but I just thought that was purely because I was from Namibia.
Yeah.
Given the fact that people think I'm white.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget. When I worked at APSA and I went in for my risk assessment, and this lady was filling it in, and I check on the screen and she's like, race, just white. Don't ask me nothing. She didn't speak to me to sort of like maybe scope an accent or whatever. None of that. And I was like, but why is that relevant? Am I competent to do the job? Isn't that the question we're asking here? And I think with all of that, having that said, we find that a lot of the colored youth, they leave. I mean, look at the soccer players. They leave because there's no hope for them here. Anybody. I mean, there's a young musician who's brilliant now, and I mean, he's touring the world now. When he got into some competition, the producer told him straight, he's so talented, just a shame he's not black. Like, how is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
How is that okay to say, for our... So I think, as coloreds here, we're forced to do something different. We're forced to break out of that mold, to go find something different, because it's either that or we get told we just sell drugs, or it's just dirty money if we get somewhere, So there is that force, but a lot of people have left. I mean, our young people are going for OPE. Just to get out of the country because there's no future for, even if they study, where are they going to go work? Where with that less than 1%?
That's true. And another thing is on that topic of, we are speaking about race, and I mean, we're talking about, breaking out of the molds of the previous generations, and in alignment with that. Many, I must say, with our generation, especially amongst the coloureds, that we've made a lot of progress amongst the brown people. We've made a lot of progress in terms of breaking the molds of racial prejudice of the past as well, with our own parents. Because one thing I've noticed is that, there's still the notion amongst the previous generation that white is right and black is wrong, right? And but what we've done as progress in our generation, and I think that's why we were called, Gen Next, because we have made a lot of progress. I mean, there's a lot of, I think it was Elon Musk, I think he falls under Gen Millennials.
Yeah.
And he was saying that I'm happy that that Gen Z and, alphas are making use of, they can celebrate their entrepreneurial prowess, and they can celebrate their technological advancements, but they must give credit to the millennials, because there's a lot of things that millennials have introduced, or the previous generations have introduced, that have enabled this next generation, and that's the importance of youth. It's always going to be like that.
Yeah.
In fact, Gen Z and Gen Alpha must leave things behind for the next generation to improve on and to better their lives on. But with regards to the issue of race, we have become more acceptable, but now our government is, let's put it this way, we've become more woke in the sense of an awakening that happened when it comes to race relations, because we grew up we were in schools with mixed race, and it wasn't now that separation of races. But now and this is the thing with the previous generation, the older generation, and that's the reason why I believe that they need to get out of government. They need to give the younger generation an opportunity to start leading the country forward, because look what they're doing with the amendment to the Employment Equity Bill. Why is that necessary? Why are we regressing instead of progressing? Why are we? Because the thing is, and I can say that because there's no clarity on what that amendment bill entails. So we have to assume now that it's going to just do what it's done with the quota system, which is to marginalize a group of people based on the color of their skin and not based on their merit, not based on what they can achieve. And so I think that is going over now, because we're moving over to the next, the previous generation, which is Gen let's just go baby boomers.
It's baby boomers.
Let's go baby boomers and the generation that our parents belong to. But what do you think are some of the ills or some of the weaknesses and some of the strengths of that previous generation?
They were workaholics. They believed in getting the job done. They were perfectionists. So they would work to the bone. They would, get up, and they believed in working hard so the job got done. They didn't believe in leaving something undone or halfway through. They didn't believe in throwing something out when it is broken. They got a job done. Or stale, yeah.
See, my grandmother used to keep sweets there since
there's no such thing as...
It became vintage. It became, what do you call that? Vintage wine. Like vintage wine. We had vintage sweets.
It was antique.
Antique. But what that did was it created consistency. It created something that, stability for that, throughout. And some of that you'll see in the next generation. You'll see some of that with us. Here far and few, because we are the generation that just from our generation, it started, if it's broken, throw it out.
Yeah.
But they weren't susceptible to change. They weren't inclined to change.
Yeah.
That's the difficulty, but they laid the foundation for where we are today, essentially.
And it was that generation that was part of the Soweto Uprising.
Yep.
It was that generation that was part of
the
struggle.
True change.
And I just want to say, it wasn't just black people that was part of that struggle. It was Indians, it was coloureds, there was some white people that were part of that struggle. And I think that's what we're getting wrong with our country. That's why I say we are regressing, because we are making this thing about only black people struggled, only black South Africans struggled, only black South Africans were out there marching and sacrificing their lives. There are countless stories, unsung heroes within the coloured and Indian communities, within the white communities that do not get recognition, because we have made this thing solely about race. That's why I say we are regressing. Other countries are progressing.
But we had an opportunity to go with a white man.
Just
but we said no, we'll stick by our black brothers and sisters.
Exactly.
Will be there. Now at the end of the day, it's like, okay, we don't worry about you. You are now, we don't need you anymore, basically.
They're written out of the history books.
Yes, but I think that's in general, because the show that we did with the whole Cleopatra.
Oh yeah.
That whole show, and I was reading some of it, and one of the comments that was, none of you are black. Right? And
then I went and commented on it.
The comment was something like, I don't see any black people on this podcast, so I'm next.
That was what the comment basically was. And then after that, I saw a lot of the content coming up on how, Africa, the whole of Africa is black, and how Egypt is black. This is a true, people should stop stealing. Now, this is coming from black Americans, right?
Yeah.
But the notion is that Africa is just black. We're negating Tunisia, we're negating Libya, Niger, Algeria, all of those places. We are negating those places. They're not African because they are not black.
Yeah.
So what am I? First of all, I'm not white. I may appear fairly white, but I'm not white, because there's a lot of different, genes, right? Races flowing through my veins.
You a patchwork of genes. Your genes is patchwork.
It's patchwork. Do you get what I'm saying? Because if you look at my sister, she just looks Indian. We were getting mixed comments going to the airport. What I'm saying is that the whole idea is that only black Africans struggled. That's why, and because it's their continent, and everyone came to invade just them. Like, we just fell out of the air. Like, we have absolutely. So my question is this: is the point just to drive people out of the country that is just not black?
Maybe continent. I don't know, but I don't see this in other African countries, because I've heard many podcasters and podcasters and YouTubers from other African countries that were like, that's rubbish. Since when does Africa worry about skin tone? This is a Western thing. Westerners introduced the difference in skin. I mean, look at the fabric of South Africa itself. Before the colonials came here and gave us those race classifications, it was just, you were from that tribe, and you were from that tribe, and you were from that tribe, and we must fought with each other here as is for land and whatever the case may be, but we still learn to live in harmony. It's when the colonials came and they introduced terms like coloured, black, white, they did those. And obviously Indian is more like a geographical place, right, of those kinds of people that come from there, and when the Indians came in and stuff like that. But it's still our place, it's our land, this is our country. We can't, where must we go to? I spoke to somebody now the other day because he was also of the opinion that Africa is black. I was like, okay, so where do I go to?
Yes.
If I'm not black, where do I go to? He's like, you must trace it back to your ancestors. I'm like, I'm going to travel from country to country to country to country and never belong, because you can't say trace it back to your. I mean, I know the oldest relative that I know is my great grandfather, who was from Germany, and he's like, yeah, so then you go there. I'm like, but my great grandmother was from Botswana.
So do we negate
some
the Botswana side? We
exactly,
just negate it.
exactly. And mind
that.
you, because a lot of African in
then
African,
that actually makes you own everything.
Exactly.
If
then
not,
I'm a world-class citizen. I don't need a passport or a visa to go anywhere.
You know what?
Because
I'm with you on that
then
one.
everything is yours then at the end of the day.
And then another point on that is, I'm like, okay, so actually you are scientifically wrong, because the oldest known relative of the human species, the current human species, is a woman. It's not a man. So that's where we're saying that you belong to the race of your father.
Oh.
The oldest human species, the oldest homogeneous species that we know, or Homo sapien, is a woman. And that gene can be traced in almost in fact, the entire human race modern now today.
And they like to say forefathers when you only have one father.
Exactly. I only have one father. So look, we kind of diverted from the topic, but we are here, and it's important to understand this, because we're also talking about mentalities, men. And that you were saying, Anka, that we are stuck in a certain way of the previous generation is stuck in a certain way of thinking, and the minute you say anything to them, they're like, no, black is black and white is white, and it's only black and white.
Okay, I'm just going to jump into the comments here. We have JB interacting with us here today. He says, how heavy was your first phone?
JB,
do you remember your first phone?
I do remember my first phone. It was a Motorola, but I can't remember.
It was a small Motorola. I think
No. Mine wasn't a Motorola. I think it was a Siemens.
Mine was a Siemens A50.
I think mine was a Siemens.
What? Wasn't those big ones?
Mine was, I'll never forget, there was a lady in our church, Auntie Gloria Frank.
Yeah.
She was like the best. She was always smiling, happy. And she always used to just bring random, on every Sunday she'll just bring something. Then one day she brought me a phone. And it was a Siemens A50. Orange screen.
Yes, yeah. I think I had the same. And plus I was bar for it because it was my first phone. I only got it when I was in high school. My parents were not about primary school
they
phone vibes. And then when I went to school, there were these boys. I remember I was in grade 8 and there were these boys in matric that was the cool guys, and I wanted to now be in by them and stuff like that. And so I was taking out my phone and stuff like that, and then they started laughing because they're like, here, what is I was so embarrassed. I never took my phone out ever again until I got the phone that
the Motorola, the Razr one.
I can't remember which one. It wasn't the Motorola.
Yeah,
I think it was also Siemens. I can't remember. Yes.
But yeah,
your first phone?
Was that little Motorola's with a little aerial, but it was a little white one.
Oh yeah, yes, yours was the Siemens.
Then he agrees to say that that's me when I'm done with my degree. I'm out of here. That was when we were talking about
Bon
the
voyage.
Colored people just leaving because there's nothing for them here. Then he says, through Egypt. Hallelujah. Then we have Nathan, our brother, as well. He says, good morning, family. I was thinking of going a full tan and changing my name. But I have straight hair, so that would make me an Indian. So I'm stuck either way.
But then, bad, guys. Tabu pester. Nathan.
You got hope. Pester. You have hope. Yo.
A Bosch.
No, that was a brick. Those big ones.
Isn't Bosch power tools?
No,
they moved over to power tools now.
Nathan, you say you could take someone out with it.
It was a big brick. I know my brother
Nathan was answering a drill.
I can't hear you.
JB says, I had the brick Nokia when people had Walkmans.
Aye. You're taking us back Walkmans, bro.
But Walkmans were big back then.
It was a thing, yo.
Everyone had a
But
Walkman.
okay, so guys, in conclusion, because
And
we don't have much time left.
Samsung E250.
Eish.
Everyone jumped to that one also.
Yeah, no way.
I had one.
So coming back to concluding the good, the bad, and the ugly. Currently, where we are now in terms of our youth and going forward, the future. Let's look at the future. What would you say is the good that we can look forward to? What would you say is the bad, and what would you say is the ugly?
Jess, you can go.
I'll say, it's difficult, because if they say, you need to speak and what, but the truth is you have to kind of separate them, because there is good for the black youth in terms of, they say we're not black.
Yeah.
So it's good for the black youth because
policies in place to set them up.
Up. That's what I'm saying. There's policies in place. They're able to get the tenders. They're able to get.
It's just like how they did it with apartheid with the white people.
100%. It's nothing different. So they're able to get the tenders. They're able to do this and that. And you say no, it's not true. Why do you think the white man uses a black face in the first place? Because he knows if I use a black face, I'm able to get more out of this government, out of certain things that's there for the black person. Is able to get more. That's why they use a black face. They're not using a colored face. They're not using an Indian face. It's always a black face. That's why they do it. So you can go there and say, that's not true. Colored people have this. Indian people have this. But yes, they're not using those people as the faces. Why? Because black people are able to get more. Whether we like it or not is the truth. Then I feel like as a colored youth, I feel like we never moved forward. Yes, we have a bit more than what our parents had. We have freedom to move around. We have freedom to do certain stuff. But yet when it comes to the employment, we see again, we given the short end of the stick. When it comes to literally anything, even BE, they say, you can apply for BE, but then you told you're not black enough for it. So what am I actually able to get at the end of the day? So as a youth,
they block you at every
they block
corner.
you literally at everything. That's why you find the colored youth starting their own businesses, starting doing their own things because they like moving as well, because you find a roadblock at every corner. I was exactly the same when I was playing football. I went everywhere, but roadblock, block. Then it's so weird because once you go overseas, they actually enjoy you. They love you. It's like, we've never seen talent like this before and all that type of stuff. Let's use Benny as an example again. He was blocked at every corner. Yes, he coached Cape Town City. Yes, he was at AmaZulu, but he wasn't appreciated. To a fact where a big team like Manchester United is able to look at this guy and say, we see value within you, come here. But when you're in South Africa, you don't see value in me because of
the color
of my skin.
My surname.
And my surname, 100%. So
for me, being not originally from here, is Benny considered to be colored?
Yes, he is colored.
He's from Cape Town, yeah.
Benny
That's why when you talk, he's colored, you need to know. So yeah, even things like that. Even when you look at someone like at youngster CPT, it's someone that's so talented. He has this gift of rap. He's brilliant at what he does. He's not just rapping about girls and he's rapping about actual
like
things.
Tupac, bro.
Yeah, he raps about how people are being colonized, the colored people are being colonized. He speaks about proper things, our land is being taken away from us, stuff like that. But yet he won't be put on that pedestal because he's not a Casper. He's not that's why in that thing he even says, AKA came out and said, I respect this man so much because I couldn't do what he did, stand up for the colored people. I wanted to be mainstream. That's why I had to go with the black. Yeah. That's why when you look at his funeral and all his memorial, everything, it's mostly your black artist that's there.
Yes.
Because he felt like in order for me to go mainstream, I have to go black.
Yeah.
And that's how it is in South Africa. So it's very difficult for our youth. I feel as a colored youth, the only way out is for you basically moving or starting your own thing. There's nothing for us in place. I've been to what's this National Youth Funding Agency, NYFA, so many times. Till today, I haven't received a call. But people that I know that went after me, they've been funded already. So it's like,
Yeah, but it's the reality.
When you write your surname on there, it's like they put your thing one side. It's like, okay, you don't need funding at this point in time. You go with a business plan, you go with everything in place, but you will never get that call.
At this point, I just think we should all just change our surnames. You can have whatever name, just change yours. You can be Mariki Umtembu. Just change your surname so that you'll be seen at some point.
And the thing is, it seems harsh to say, but that's the harsh reality that we're living in. And the thing is, if it stings you, just think about the people that are affected by it.
Yeah.
Because people make jokes, they say, if you change your name to Mtembu, you'll get more things done.
But think about the reality.
And it's black people that say that themselves.
Yes, they say it themselves.
If it stings you and you feel a tinge of racism in it, think about the people that is affected, directly affected by these policies, that are directly affected by these acts. Think about those people. And I mean, we can speak from a colored perspective, but think about the Indians, which is they are the smallest minority group in the country. Think about that.
You can even go up to the top ranking of government. How many colored people is sitting in government positions? How many Indian people is sitting? Praveen Gordhan, maybe only one day. Trevor Mayer, I don't even know if he's there anymore.
No.
But you can barely think of any.
You can't, yeah. But you know what? For me personally, on a different note, it forces us, or it forces the youth to seek for better, to strive for more. The sad part about that is that they do leave. And I was watching, it's a snippet on TikTok of that guy. I don't know, he's a prominent South African guy. We basically said that South Africa is a ship with no captain. People are jumping ship, people are going wherever, but it's sort of sinking, but there's no captain to steer where this is going, because everybody that
Fusi Tembekwayo.
I think it might be him. He's a prominent speaker though. I think he's a motivational speaker as well.
It's Fusi then.
Yeah.
Is he black but talks so wild?
Yeah.
It's Fusi.
I'm not very good with names, but y'all know what I would say.
He talks proper English.
Yeah.
Donkey. So what he was basically saying, and a lot of the talent, and don't be mistaken, and yes, there's a lot of black talent. There's people that can do the job. There's people, and you know what?
But even those get overlooked because of this.
Do you get what I'm
the
saying?
systems in place.
Because it's more a thing of you need to know someone to get somewhere.
Exactly.
So there are black people that are talented, that are highly educated, but also that doesn't get the job. And then the same thing with colored people. But what that does is it forces you to strive for better.
Yes.
The sad reality is it's going to be in a different country, and South Africa has so much to offer.
And that's the good in the ugly.
That is the good and the ugly. But South Africa, I was saying the other day, if I compare the two countries with South Africa and Namibia, even tourists want to come and see the country. It's a beautiful country. It has so much to offer. And yes, there is money here, but mismanagement is a thing, and it's not given to the people who very well deserve it. Merit is on the basis of, someone's father was back in the 300 years ago, was something happened to that person. The reality of the matter, this is now. These are the ills that we deal with now. And everyone at this point is disadvantaged. Everyone at this point. So why can't we just all get a fair start?
That's true. And the thing is, what we've seen with Triple B, and this is the thing with affirmative action and the pitfalls. And that's the reason why I say I'm skeptical about these transformation policies that our government puts in place, because we know that anything, and it's the brutal truth, anything that this government touches goes to shambles. And even things like transformation is vital. Representation is necessary, undoubtedly so. But the way in which it's done, we saw with Triple BEE, what good did it bring? Because everything is failing. We live in a failing state. In fact, it's so close to being a failed state. And we make this thing about race and not about how we can come together as a nation, people of different colors, different creeds, different belief systems, and we can make this thing work for the future generation. And I want to close on that. But JB said there that my dad said that he never felt more African than when he was in Dubai. The foreigners recognize us as African, but not our own government. And that is the sad reality that we are living in. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who watched up until this point for those of you who stayed. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We really do appreciate the support, and we thank you for being here. And we want to wish our youth a very happy Youth Day, which is happening on Friday the 16th of June. We will be at the Crystal Church Auditorium. We will be at the Rhythm Youth Conference. So we are very excited about that. But to everybody else, however you choose to celebrate, be cognizant of the time in which we live in, and find ways in which you can better yourself and the future and the people after you. It's called paying it forward, and that is what we ought to do as a people, and that's the reason why we should have these kinds of conversations. We should keep the conversation going, and we should be the change that we want to see. Yeah, no, I'm being very cliche, but that is the truth of the matter. So happy Youth Day for Friday, and happy Youth Month ahead. We'll see you guys next week, God willing. Much love, peace, and happiness.
Bye.